Hello, Duncan. How's it going? And welcome to the second episode of Webflow Weekly.
Hello, doing very well. Doing very well. How are you? What's on the agenda for this week?
Very good. So this week, honestly, I would say the main topic is just the Webflow community and how awesome they are. And I want to start by talking about that a bit. And then after, we're going to get into some of the stuff that the Webflow community has made over the past week. So we have some really cool, completely free, ready-to-use templates that are extremely high quality. Now, there's always something like that from the Webflow community, but there's like a lot this week, and that is, I think, going to really take the stage today. After that, if you don't have a brand new project to start, we still have something for you because there's some really cool animation slash interactions that the community has made. And finally, some really cool tutorials slash Webflow hacks, as I will call them. So we have a lot of really great stuff today. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Very good. So yeah, first things first, I just wanted to talk about, I just got back from a conference, which was here in Europe, specifically in Serbia, more specifically in the city of Niš. And it's a conference hosted by the Flow Ninja team. And I just want to say it was amazing. Any sort of Webflow events. Duncan, have you been to many Webflow events like in person?
I went to one of the Webflow conferences in San Francisco.
Nice. How was it?
The event itself was a blast. SF's not really my speed. I live in like colonial Williamsburg, so everything is quiet and calm. But yeah, SF was a little fast-paced, a little crazy.
Yeah. I live in a village in Serbia, so like I imagine San Francisco's not really my pace either. That being said, it's a pretty legendary city, and I feel like I need to go at some point in time, even if it's not going to be my thing, just to see it. Kind of like Paris. Saw it, cool, not my thing, glad I saw it. But yeah, it is amazing. The Webflow community, I've been involved in the Webflow community for a while now, and I took it for granted just how amazing the community is. Whenever I go to these events, I've only been to the ones in Europe, it is just a group of such amazing people. You feel like you're on the same page with everyone. I don't know about you, Duncan, but when I'm walking around my village in Serbia and someone asks what I do for work, let's just say they're not on the same page as me. And I usually just tell them I'm a programmer because they'll like understand that.
Yes, much simpler.
Exactly. So yeah, it's really cool. And I just want to say to anyone in Europe, there's no more Webflow conference in Europe. So FlowConf is the biggest event. It's amazing. And also anyone who's able to go to New York for the Webflow Conf, these events are amazing. They're going to further your career. You're going to have a killer time. But with that being said, the Webflow community is awesome. I'll stop talking about it and I'll start showing you why the Webflow community is awesome. First things first, we have this Total Mind AI template by PIXYBITS, and I really like the name PIXYBITS. It's really fun to
That's
say.
fun. That's fun.
So that's the first thing I want to say, and I'm going to go ahead and open this live site, and I mean, you'll see.
Nice.
It is absolutely beautiful. As I scroll down here, as you can see, there are interactions built into it. It is beautifully styled. All of these images are just so nice. The only thing that I would say about this template as someone who both builds and uses templates is it's very opinionated. So I would say if this is exactly what you need, I mean, hey, clone it, add in your text, change some colors, and you're good to go. But if you're trying to make something different, there might be a lot to undo. What do you think, Duncan, about templates? What's your favorite kind of template to work with?
I'll say whenever you say make something different, what comes to mind for you? What do you mean by that?
Well, let me start with a backstory. No, I'm kidding. I typically, when it comes to templates, my favorite templates to use are simple UI kits because they save me a lot of time in laying down the basic blocks, and then I'm able to add my own flair. So what I mean by that is this. You can see we have this grid back here and these, really nice little blurs and these little corners around them. These are, let's just say, branded elements in this template. So let's say you don't want to have these little corners and these underlines, and instead of a grid, you want it to be like little speckles. You might have a lot of stuff to undo, let's say. Yeah. But if everything you see, well, not everything, but if most things are exactly as you want it on the first glance, this is a beautiful template. And in order to stop just scrolling through it,
I feel like if I were going to, I mean, you could change up the vibe of this quite a bit by making the background white and throwing in some pictures that were like specific to your industry or product. I'm imagining if these like little outlines around, kind of creating these boxes, these little corners. If they were black on a white background and there was something colorful next to them, I really feel like this would adapt nicely to most industries. I'm a pretty big fan of this.
Yeah.
It's like
agree.
Dark
I think
and purple, like Scream, AI, and like tech to me. But if those were gone, I feel like it could be adapted.
And the font. You know what? Obviously, we're not going to be able to, on this call, like change absolutely everything. But let's go ahead and just play around with a couple things and see how well it adapts. Okay, already we're making some good progress. Obviously, this stuff would need to be changed. And now let's go ahead and change the font to...
Yeah, so that's the number one thing that's going to change the vibe.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to do...
We're not going to get the H1s, so we won't get like a full feel.
I mean, already this is looking significantly different. You know, there's these edges and whatnot. These are actually border. That's really cool. Okay, so one thing that I don't like in some templates is when they're very image heavy, because, you know, you can't use those. You probably can't use those images anyways. This one, it seems like they took that into account. I mean, look how nice this pricing table looks already. With the different color button. This is a really awesome template. I think it would adapt well to a lot of industries, but again, I think this is the kind of thing where if you see it and go, this would be a great site for me, use it. Whereas not so much of like a tool to use, if that makes sense. That's my thoughts on these opinionated templates. They're good for their own use cases. Sweet. All right. So the next template that we have over
Actually,
here,
one more question real quick on this one before you move on. How many pages does this one have? Do you still have Webflow open?
I didn't even check, but I can open it with just one click. So let's do that. Thank you, Webflow, for making that possible.
If it's just a landing page, no problem. But if it does have, always score.
We have lots of pages, actually. I mean, they're all in the nav, so I could just go ahead and scroll through them. Oh, yeah. Is this a Webflow slider? It is a Webflow slider, which, in my opinion at least, is both good and bad. Nice little features page over here. Yeah, this is an awesome template.
I think that answers my question. This is a robust template to be just like open source on the showcase.
Oh yeah, I mean, if I had a client who needed something like this, I could very, very easily see charging like, you know, a couple thousand for a website like this. Yeah. And I would say this template could easily be sold for over 100. But just to remember, PIXYBITS, my favorite name ever, PIXYBITS decided to make this free. So
thank you.
That is awesome. Thank you, PIXYBITS. One more time for the road, PIXYBITS. Love the name, love the template. Amazing job.
All right, who's next?
So, next up on our list, we have Ventifye by Flowfye. Also a good name, cool. Flowfye. And this template is quite nice as well. Completely free as well. So let's go ahead and open it, see if there's more pages, see the interactions, and all of that. What kind of business, Duncan, would you see immediately using this for? I'm interested to see if we think the same way on that.
My first thought was like a therapy or like a lawyer. I would change the text gradient color. It's just a little bit hard for me to read with that lighter green.
Yeah.
But like the emphasis on like having lots of pictures of people. The font is really nice. It feels like a professional services to me. Where do you go with this when you see it?
I would agree that it feels like professional services, but it feels a little bit more, let's say, friendly than professional. I mean, beautifully professional website. Don't take that the wrong way, but it's warm feeling. It feels more like, you know, something I would want to interact with, and I would expect some very friendly customer service instead of like a sharp, dark blue, black and white website where I would just, you know, really nice section over here for these testimonials as well. This is a long homepage in a good way.
I'm assuming this is a waterfall style page. Like if you click About Us, does it
Ah, yeah.
Yes. Okay, so homepage is waterfall. I looked at this before the call at the bottom. If you click a link in the footer, those do take you to other pages. Like the change log, the
Okay.
privacy policy, all of those work.
Ooh, they have a nice little style guide here, which would make it
Mhm.
super easy to customize. That's awesome.
Love that.
Licenses. Again, some of these templates, they might use some stock images, which they have the right to use, but you may not have the right to use. So that's always good to check out.
Yeah, good to double check. That's something I forget to do whenever I'm
Yeah,
working through these sometimes. So good
same.
reminder.
I so far have not received a cease and desist letter, so knock on wood.
Mhm.
They have change logs in their templates, Duncan. I think that's something that we should do too.
It's very nice.
That's a great idea. Privacy policy. This is a template. It's not their privacy policy, but this is a really, really nice template. I'm going to go ahead and open it up in Webflow. First of all, just to see if there's anything we're missing under the hood, if there's any more pages. No, that would be it. What about the password? Root not found. Maybe that's if you're okay. I think that's just Webflow read-only links have that.
Oh yeah.
Um, then what about the classes? Because again, I think everyone has their preference when it comes to classes. I'm looking at this right now. I see page dash wrapper. I see section underscore hero. And Duncan, that means we are looking at a client first project.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes me very happy.
Yep. Oh, hey, update since last week. I looked
Yes.
into the class name search issue. I figured out what it was.
What was it?
It is whenever you have two words. So we don't have to try to. I could figure out how to replicate it, and I could demo it whenever I go to my screen share.
Okay.
But something about the underscore and the dashes. If you like search two words in the wrong order or something, it doesn't pull up results. So it doesn't break Webflow search, but it limits Webflow search.
Oh, that's clear. That's clear.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. Okay. Okay. So if you search like text heading and it was heading text, for example,
You won't get
that's
it
where.
because, but if it were just two separate words, Webflow would know how to parse that and return it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. Webflow, if you're watching this, I imagine that could be fixed by just maybe even ignoring dashes and underscores in the search or
In the
treating
search.
them like spaces. You know what I mean? I think that would be good. But yeah, Duncan, Ventifye by Flowfye.
Flowfye.
Final thoughts.
Love it. Great template. I could totally see myself using this for a client, for a project. It's really good.
Same. Definitely professional services, something like that. Amazing job, Flowfye. Great template. Keep it up. Hopefully, we can include you in more. And the next one that we have here, Duncan, is actually an interesting one. I'm going to go ahead and open this and tell you why I say it's interesting. This is a beautiful, beautiful site. But I'm currently looking at this from mdici.ai, which leads me to believe that Helvetica Digital over here built this for a client, more than likely. I don't know if they meant to have it clonable on Webflow, but it's a really cool project. And if you're watching this, clone it while it's available because it's really cool. Have you checked this one out yet?
Yes. Very, very cool.
Oh, yeah. Let's take a look at the live site first. This is so cool to me. I was originally like, how did they do this? But it's just a background video. And then they have, I'm assuming, these little things here are like, oh, these are actually links that go to different pages. Wow. But anyways, yeah, these are, I assume, like absolute positioned. What if I check it out on mobile? What will that look like? Absolutely beautiful. Those little dots don't exist, but fine. I would probably do the same.
Mm-hmm.
Scrolling down, like, this is super cool. This little looping around subheader. I love these bento grids with images. Some people say they're like out of fashion now. In my eyes, they are not. They are perfectly in fashion. Love that scroll animation. Some nice stuff here. And they're proud to support Juventus. I am also a Juventus fan. If any soccer/football fans are watching this, feel free to high five me or get angry at me in the comments for that. This is a really nice site. Again, I have this is all real information. So I'm going to be honest with you. Even if they did mean to make this clonable, probably you're not going to want to use any of the images or that kind of stuff.
Yes,
Because I
I think
assume,
that makes sense.
yeah, they probably own the rights to that. Now let's just super quickly check it out in Webflow, see what we've got over here. So this one is using more like the Webflow marketplace style of class naming. So Duncan, how's
Guess
that
who's
sound to
loving
you?
it? Guess who's eating it up? I'm here
Duncan's
for
eating
it.
it up.
Mhm.
I don't mind it again, and I know we said this last time, and I imagine this is going to be a frequent topic on this series. I just like the dashes and underscores because it matches the code. But I agree, Webflow, if Webflow allows like, spaces and stuff like that, for Webflow, it does make more sense. I would say a big difference is whether or not you work with custom code heavily in your projects. As you know, Duncan, I'm usually making web apps and stuff that are pretty custom code heavy. Whereas if you're just making, let's say, landing pages, marketing sites, and you don't really have very much custom code at all, then honestly, whatever floats your boat or floats your goat, as some people say. So let's just take a quick look through this and see what pages we have. We already saw the class naming. We already obviously saw the class naming, I should have said. So we've got a products page over here with a comparison table, which is quite nice. How did they do these X's super quick? That's not something I've seen before.
Background image.
It's a background image. Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't see any problems with that. It's not necessarily how I would do it, but
I mean, based on everything I've seen, like this is a great template.
yeah, this is
I would
really
totally
nice.
use this. It's pretty unbiased too. It leans heavily on the images and the videos to make it stand out, which
Agreed.
is a trademark of a good template to me.
I agree. Have you ever, Duncan, cloned a template or purchased a template even only to realize that it's only beautiful because of the beautiful images that they made, which you can't even use?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I have been there. And anyways, moving on from Mdici, MDICI, however you want to call it, from Helvetica Digital. Beautiful site, guys. I don't know if you meant to make this clonable, but if you did, it's a great resource. And the next thing that I want to get into here is actually a portfolio template. We are all always behind on updating our portfolios. It's not even on my radar right now, and I think that's just a running joke in our industry that nobody is up to date on their portfolio. So if you're looking for a new portfolio, here we have the John Marks template by Kiiwio LLC. I am going to pop that open, take a quick look at it. So right here,
Cool.
I would swap that out with, of course, my own image. You could change this. Hello, I'm Julian Galuzzo, guy who builds stuff on the internet. That's kind of how I've defined my title at this point.
Services, about me. It's got it all there. I'm curious because there was like a trend where people would put on their resumes the like percentage proficiency with each skill. I don't see that here, which I'm loving.
Yeah,
This just
there's
lists
no way
out
to
the
know
skills, projects completed. I feel like this features a lot of the information I would want to see as somebody trying to hire like a freelancer.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is pretty
I
good.
agree. Really nice interactions. Again, it's not very. It's a nice, clean design, but it's not very opinionated.
Can you click
These
on
are
one of
all.
those projects?
Yes, let's do it.
Do you use actual like link over? Yeah, they do. Nice.
They are. They all have animations.
Oh, beautiful.
This is a really nice template that I think a lot of people could benefit from. I think all of these are real pages. Portfolio page over here, services page. This one really just seems like a pop in your colors, pop in your font, pop in your text, pop in your images, and go for it. I mean, I would say in most industries, portfolios are a pretty standardized thing as for what you want to have on it. And this has got it all, in my opinion. Now,
Love it.
let's take a quick look under the hood. So I'm seeing page wrapper. I'm seeing main wrapper. I'm
Looks
seeing
great.
home hero section. Beautiful class names. Client first. So if you use client first, that's good. Let's take a quick look and see if they have a style guide or anything. Style guide. They do have a style guide, so you'll easily be able to change up all of that. We got home, about, portfolio, services, contact, and then those CMS pages. So Awesome template. I don't have anything else to say besides if you are building a new portfolio, check out the John Marks template by Kiiwio LLC. As always, completely free. So, Duncan, any
Sweet.
final thoughts on this one?
No, it looks great.
Sweet. All right. In that case, let's close off John Marks over here and let's move into Vaulta. And Duncan, you ever built any fintech sites?
Once upon a time.
Back in the day, yeah, I could say the same. It's been a couple years. But what I can say is that this one is nicer than any I almost said FinSuite sites that I built. Any fintech, so I've been in the Webflow space for too long. Any fintech sites that I've built, I would say this one is nicer. This is really clean. I love this. I would use this for any sort of mobile bank. I love these the button comes closer to your mouse interactions. Super, super nice template. Oh, that's beautiful. I didn't even notice that yet.
Love it.
Look at that slider. That is friggin' awesome. Get your card, and then we got Vaulta down here. Is this okay? This is an image. So you want to know, Duncan, how I would use a template like this? This is a more image-heavy template. So again, if I saw this and it was pretty much on par with what I wanted to build for myself or for a client, do you know what I do with these kind of templates? I would export this. This is clearly an image. Put it into Figma or Photoshop or whatever you want to use, and just rebuild it. So again, I'd build a card. It would have the logo of whatever it is that I'm building here, new text, and all that kind of stuff. So basically, this, export it, put it into Figma, make something that's the same aspect ratio and, you know, has a similar vibe to that, and then export it and work with it. This is a beautiful template, but it's also full of images, so you will definitely need to make some images. Let's see what other pages they have. Or is it just a home page? I see sign up and sign in. They don't go to anything, but I would say that they should go to a page that has MemberStack enabled, if you ask me personally. Let's take a quick look behind the scenes in Webflow, see what we're working with, and see what kind of class names we're working with as well. So over here, I would say right off the bat that we have a custom setup. We do not have a style guide as well. So I would say use at your own risk in the sense of check out the classes, see if they work in a similar system to what you would use. That being said, just to remember, Hatypo, please let us know the correct way to pronounce your company name in the comments. These class names were definitely intentionally done, which is obviously important. I just don't like to see, you know, automatically named classes and stuff like that. As long as that's not in there and there's some sort of logic and consistency, which I can see that we have in here, the class names get a thumbs up for me. What do you think about Vaulta over here, Duncan?
I like it. I have a feeling, I mean, it reminds me of like a Figma template because it's beautifully designed. This is just really, really solid. But it does seem like each text input has a different, or not input, but each text element has a different class name, which means they're not carrying over from one to the next. So for me to actually use this, I would probably need to sort of figure out what are the different types of text in here and then update all of those, which already that's getting into the like territory of, I don't know that I would start from this personally. But it looks so nice. If I needed a one-page, let me put it this way. If I needed a one-page website and I could keep most of this the same and not have to add a bunch of other pages and make it really easy to maintain in the future, this is amazing. This is really good.
Beautifully said. I agree with that 100%. What I would do if I was building this template personally, in order to make it, I guess, a bit more usable for bigger projects. First things first, style guide. That is probably the biggest thing that I feel is missing from this template. That would make me want to use it for bigger projects. But again, for a one-page project, I think this is absolutely beautiful. I mean, like you said, if I saw this on the Figma template marketplace / community, I would be like all over it. So
Yeah.
Amazing work too. Again, I'm going to say Hatypo Digital. So next, we are moving on from templates and we're opening something from an absolute Webflow legend. If you're here watching a weekly video about the latest happenings in Webflow, I don't think this man needs any sort of introduction. Timothy Ricks, absolute legend. Let's take a look at this. And I just want to say, Duncan, sometimes if I have a project and it's nice, but it's kind of missing something. Last week we talked about scroll interactions, and I said how they just bring it to life. I really love these interactions and animations, which are, I would say, very section agnostic. So what we have here is called liquid glass. And if I click and go around this, let me see if I can zoom in so you can see it even better. We got this really cool like glass bubble effect, and
Pretty cool.
these micro interactions are the kind of thing where I think they're super easy to add, and it just, I mean, this is going to be with code. There's no way this is with native Webflow interactions, but like,
Right.
add this to your site, and just when people click and hold, they're going to go, wow, that is awesome. And all you did was take a code snippet from Timothy Ricks. So this is something that I could see using in a lot of projects very
That's the
easily.
beauty of open source. It looks like he got this from CodePen originally. He attributed his source down there. It's
Yep.
great. And then I assume
Exactly.
he has a video probably on YouTube, maybe on Patreon, explaining how it's implemented. But the
Yes.
project's here and clonable.
Yep. So let's super quickly pop this open and see if it is clearly explained in here, or at least it's clear how we would add it in. Let's take a look at some of this custom code. If I open this, we have some stuff. That's all I know how to call it. This is GSAP. This is definitely GSAP, so I guess this is powered by GSAP. Now, one thing that I do want to say, okay, so it uses
AI would
.shape.
probably be the way to go, right?
Yeah, I would definitely pop this into AI. And I'm interested to see where, just because there were some classes that are used here, where are those classes? We have .shape and .wrap. Oh, right there. Okay, so shape and wrap. So I guess what you would want to do is copy this shape, put it in your project, copy this code, put it in your project, and then let's quickly see if we have no code here. So that is all you need to do if you want to get that super cool glass effect going. I think all you need to do is copy the code, copy that one element, put it on your site, and then when somebody clicks and drags around, they'll get this super cool thing. One final thing on this is, according to Timothy Ricks, this might only work in Chrome. That being said, it works. If it doesn't work, nobody's going to know it was there. Nobody's going to know what they're missing out on. So I would say, I would just say add this to any project you got, and if it looks cool, then use it. I like it. Duncan, thoughts on liquid glass and anything you want to say to Timothy Ricks, the man, the myth, the legend?
Oh, well, I'll think about the second one. But the first one, if I were going to use this, what I would do is open the live site, copy the page code, paste it into Claude, because it can handle pretty large inputs, and just have it explain to me how this is working. Because I don't see a tutorial here, but this is the kind of thing that AI is really, really that I like using AI for.
Yeah.
And then for Timothy Ricks, hi.
Hi, Timothy. Thank you for everything you do.
Yep, I appreciate your work.
Likewise. So, thank you
good one.
again, Timothy Ricks. And I've got my last animation of the day here, Duncan, and then we're going to move on to you. So,
Great.
we have this from, I'm going to do my best here, Jetmir Kojqiqi. I saw on his profile that is an Albanian name. Albanian is such a cool language. Unfortunately, I do not speak it yet, so please let me know, my friend, if I said your name right. And I just want to say this is really cool. I've seen this in quite a few different projects where it essentially it looks like a normal header. You know, a lot of people who go on your site are just going to open this, read it, and say Optimus shaping brands and digital da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But someone out there is going to hover. And when they do that, they're going to see some beautiful, beautiful images I mean, whatever you put there. So again, let's say you were using this on the, I forget, the last name was Marks, the portfolio template we discussed earlier. Let's say you had this and it said, I am a web developer, web designer and graphic designer. And web developer and graphic designer were underlined. Then when you hover over it, it showed some examples of your work. I think that would be a really, really cool way to use this. Duncan, where would you use this?
Yeah, let's see. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of simple now, which would be as little text as possible. A short sentence is a really effective way to communicate a lot of information quickly, where someone is like actually going to read it. But then, if I were to put several paragraphs below that explaining each of the words, it's like they're having to sign up for all this work. Like they look at it, it's intimidating. However, like imagine if every word in this sentence were underlined, or not even underlined, but had the effect. It would basically give you the ability to sort of dig in to just the information that you want at the time when you want it. So any kind of interactions like this, which allow you to access information when you want it, I'm a big fan of. I would totally use this on a project, and will.
Yeah, I agree. I really like this. And I mean, you know what they say, a picture speaks 1,000 words. So right there, again, for my idea that I mentioned, where if this said, I am a web designer, right away, they can hover over the word web designer and see that you're a good web designer. So I think this is a really cool effect. I think this could be used in a lot of projects. And again, what you said, Duncan, about reducing the need for the user to read. Because one thing that I believe personally, as harsh as it may sound, is that nobody cares about your website. You know, everyone's got a problem that they want to solve, and your website is just one way for them to possibly solve that problem. And if you give them a whole bunch of words to read, well, you might be making them work too hard. And like you said, this is just one more way to reduce that, and I am all for it. So last thing I want to show on this is how it is built. And from what it seems like to me, this is 100% Webflow interactions, which is great. So we have cards show over here, which changes the heading 1 text color, the color of the text span, and it shows these images back here, which if I click that, it seems like it has, let's see, cursor auto, opacity 0. Okay, so essentially they're just built, and then when you hover over one of the words, it controls whether or not it is opaque. So this is really awesome. Again, Jetmir, however you say your name, awesome animation. And with that being said, Duncan, I'm excited to see what you found.
Okay, so continuing on with some of the best free projects from the community this week, we've got this CSS animation. If we open this up in Webflow, it looks like what they're doing, I haven't really explored this yet, but I think what they're doing is just changing the height of this element. And what I like about this is it's like a reminder of you can get crazy with these interactions, these hover interactions in Webflow, and really the limit is creativity. If we scroll down here, there's no transition on that. So the question is, where is this interaction? Oh, is it a script?
I don't think it is, because it says it's a CSS interaction. There we go. Yeah, this is not surprising to me that it's custom CSS.
Yep, because we're nesting. So when we're hovering, so you could do this with Webflow interactions, because actually Webflow interactions really mostly are just CSS. Sometimes they're JavaScript, but it's a mix. Yeah, what's happening here is whenever you hover over this card, we are changing the opacity of this inner element. So cool. That explains why it's actually showing up in here.
Yes, that is really nice. CSS animations are great, but again, just because Webflow doesn't support them natively, it makes it a little bit tricky to manage, let's say. And to the Webflow team, if you're watching this, my probably number one feature to implement would be native, let's say CSS nesting. So again, like I can style the setting of when I hover over card, what is going to happen to card inner. I think that's the biggest thing missing from Webflow right now. And that's actually really impressive because the Webflow team has come a very long way.
Cool. So yeah, so that would be this one. Big fan, created by Everything Design. So yeah, thank you for putting this out. I appreciate whenever people make these very simple projects that I could just like save this, grab it later, and if I have a section that would benefit from this, I just pop it right in.
Yeah.
No big deal. Next up, I'm a sucker for like skeuomorphism. So I like the way that this was animated. Again, I don't know. So it does say that it's using custom code, but I have not looked to see how much of this is style. Oh, wow. Look, it's like all custom code.
Okay. A quick question, Duncan. Skeuomorphism. I like kind of understand what that means. Like if you say it to me, I know the kind of vibe to expect, but would you be able to describe that a little bit?
For sure. It's essentially just trying to mimic physical objects, like three-dimensional physical objects, and then building that inside of, or like an app design or on a website. An example would be like a button. If you see a button that is trying to look just like an actual round button with shadow, and when you press it, it like depresses in, that would be skeuomorphism.
That is a great description. And one thing I want to shout out about, I guess this would be considered skeuomorphism, is that design style is what made Apple so successful as a company. I mean, I'm sure lots of things made Apple successful, don't get me wrong. But if you look back to the iPhone 3, 3GS, the original iOSs, the big difference between that and other phones was that, they made the Notes app, for example, look like a real notebook. They made the contacts look like a real phone book. And so using skeuomorphism in that way to essentially provide a real life feel can make your designs a lot easier for people to adopt. So really cool. I don't see that as a design trend. Rather, I see that as a user experience hack. That's my thoughts on skeuomorphism.
Agreed. All right, next up, a light dark mode toggle by Nisium, which we featured a project by them last week. So there.
Nisium.
So things I'm liking about this. One is they break it down really simply. How to use it, give me the code, it's all right there. I've got a demo which works here. All the code is just ready to go right there for us. Big fan of that. How to use. Yeah, it's all broken down nicely.
Love it. Clear documentation, simple, very, what's the word, applicable? Able to be used for many different things.
Yes. I would be curious to see how, if this was implemented on a like production site, does it remember like across sessions? Okay, it seems like it at least remembers across sessions. So might need some additional work, but I haven't tested it. So it might be just like ready to go.
Nice. Auto is really cool too. I just wanted to shout out, if you don't know what auto means, it essentially means it is going to automatically do your device settings. So if you have your device set to dark mode, I, for example, have it on auto. So during the day it's light and at night it's dark. That's what that does, which is really, really cool to have in a project.
Oh, and I'll shout this out too. Looks like how they are controlling dark mode versus light mode is they're adding a class to the body, which is then going to kind of cascade down. Probably just change the font color and the background color. And as long as they throughout, so like if I were building a project, I would just have to be really careful to make sure that all my font colors are inheriting from the body or are variations of like opacity, plus the CTA, like any text that has a color works on light or dark mode. Otherwise, I'll need to just add additional classes and target additional elements. So, for example, I could target all my H1s and add an additional class. I would use AI to generate that code, but it's actually not too complicated.
Yeah. I think that's something you have to think about from the start of your project, though. I think if you have, for example, if we wanted to implement dark mode on the member stack site right now, I think that would be like an absolute event debacle. I don't know what word to use, but I agree. If you use this from day one in your project, or at least from the early phases of your project, this looks like a very simple and elegant setup.
I'm going to throw this out there too. I like light and dark mode is really cool, However, for big complicated sites, you basically double your like test cases. So if you have it set up where you are, when you're making changes, you're testing your site to make sure that it's all functional, visually is like legible, everything works. If you implement something like light and dark mode, you are doubling your surface area immediately. So just to be aware of that and decide, is it worth the extra effort? The bigger your site, the more effort that is. But yeah, great implementation, well explained. This is a cool template. I would love to see more showcase projects following this kind of layout. Which, speaking of great documentation, we've got another project by Francesco. Again, with a video and FinSuite style attributes and documentation all nested right in here. Excellent work. So we'll open up the live site. Yeah, we can see the video here. Got all our documentation. And there's not really too much else I need to say. I could tell just from this. It's like, it's well built. The projects he develops are high quality, so would recommend that anybody use this. Next up, simple HTML5 video. And Julian, what is whenever you are adding a video to a Webflow site, what is your initial like thought, or is this something that's easy for you or something that's kind of a pain?
Well, I would say that really depends. Usually when I'm adding a video, it is as simple as I want to promote that video, which means I upload it to YouTube and then I embed it as well on the site, which is great. That being said, we've had other situations where we don't want it to be promoted. For example, if we're building an online course or a template or something like that. And in those situations, I tend to use Webflow or upload my own custom videos with an HTML player. So this would adhere to that. And as for whether or not you should use something like Webflow versus a custom HTML video, I would just say one is a monthly payment, one is harder to implement. So pick your own battle.
So similar situation for me. Depending on the use case, it's like if it's a YouTube video or a Loom video, something where I need someone to be able to opt in to start watching it and to have audio and just like traditional YouTube style video experience, then that's easy. Webflow does that no problem. I know there are some limitations, and I think we actually have member scripts which help get around those limitations. I don't remember what they are, but when it comes to having an autoplay video, this is documentation I think I'm going to save and use. There's a 17-minute tutorial going through how to host the videos in a service I think called Bunny CDN.
Yes, Bunny's a really, really good and well-known CDN. I haven't used it much, but all my developer friends told me how great it is. So
I appreciate that this is all explained step by step. In the intro to the video, he specifically says, like, this is for Webflow users who want to host videos, which I love the specificity. And yeah.
Yeah. Ilja Van Eck is another one who every time I see his name on the showcase, I'm clicking it.
Yep. So yeah, that's all the projects.
Awesome. Awesome. Duncan, if you were to give one sentence to sum up everything that we've looked at today, what would it be? Putting you on the spot, but
the Webflow community is my favorite professional community.
Oh man, you stole mine. It was maybe going to use different words, but exactly that. I just, every single time I do anything regarding the Webflow community, whether it's looking through the showcase, whether it's going to this conference, whether it's just talking to someone who I met who's involved in the Webflow community, I am just always more and more happy to be a part of it. And yeah, with that being said, great job to everyone in the Webflow community. If you released a project in the showcase, drop it in the comments and we will review it as well on the next episode of Webflow Weekly.
Good deal. Well, until then, have a great week. Talk to you later.
You too, Duncan. Take it easy.